Hello everyone, this is the Soda Popcast episode 9. Today we have some special people with us, because every person is special in my book, at least that's what I'm told. Who's not with us today is Tom Peeler. He was going to be spending the night or early morning for him with us, but unfortunately he got sick today, and OwlTin came in and said, hey, I got this covered. I'll take over his spot. So we do have OwlTin back with us. We also have MeBrother9. That's not the usual way I introduce things, but to be honest, we were running a little bit late, and I didn't want to start late, so I didn't actually plan out too much of what I was going to say. One thing I do want to say, though, is that there is a slight possibility, very slight, I doubt it will happen, there's a slight possibility that we'll have to end the stream a little bit early. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible that the stream will only be like an hour long, which is actually the agreed upon amount when I first started this anyway, so it would actually be going on time. It wouldn't be going over time. It's basically an hour and a half now. That's basically what but I'm fine with an hour. Basically, if I just go like, okay guys, I gotta go now, or something like that, then it happens. But I don't think that's gonna happen. We should be good. Today I am drinking for the first time out of a glass and not out of a soda can, because I had soda in liter. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I had soda in liter form, and I was like, you know what? Why not save the cans for another date? But today I am drinking blue glass soda, so that's pretty good.
So like really, what it is just like dyed water, right?
No. It's actually, what is it? I actually don't remember. It's like blackberry cola or something. So something kind of interesting. I haven't tried it before. It tastes all right to me. It tastes a little bit close to grape, and usually when I drink soda, I don't like to taste grape when I'm not expecting grape. But I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how it goes. Maybe things go well, I'll ask him for a sponsorship, But I don't want to give him that kind of attention as for now. But we'll see.
Hashtag not an ad.
Yeah, not an ad. OwlTin, if you would like to introduce yourself, you shall.
Hello, I'm OwlTin, and my drink of choice is this A&W root beer, because I had it over from Thanksgiving, and I forgot to get a soda. So
Very nice.
Get some of that. Yay.
Do you want to introduce what you do and stuff?
Oh, I make videos on YouTube. They're real great.
What a concept! I do that too, man. We should totally hang out sometime.
Minecraft videos. Recently been working with Patrick actually on Portal videos, which is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that's been a lot of fun. If you guys haven't seen OwlTin's and I's Portal 2 series over on Patnet 2, it's quite a hoot. It's honestly a really fun series. More fun than I expected it to be.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's out every Wednesday at 2 p.m., so make sure you check that out. And then we also have MeBrother9, who also has a YouTube channel. What do you know? We all happen to have YouTube channels. That's quite awesome.
I'm so sorry. I was so generic.
It's a thing.
It's a thing
that people do nowadays. I've been pretty quiet on my YouTube channel for actually the past year. Monday will be a year since I posted my last video, but it'll also be the day that I post my next video. So something interesting there. I also now have a microphone and a place of my own, so I'll be streaming again as well, because that's something I like to do consistently. And as for my drink, I have the best soda in the world, bottled water.
Very nice.
So
very nice.
That's what I'll be going with.
You can't beat that. You really can't.
Is it sparkling bottled water?
No, it's not
it
called
is
sparkling.
Great value Walmart brand bottled water.
That's as sparkling as you can get. There's no such thing as sparkling water. It's called grandma soda. That's what it's called. Let me real quick. I forgot to tell you this last time, MeBrother9. Oh, for those who don't know, MeBrother9 was just with us last time, and that was also a really good podcast that you guys should check out if you get the chance. But one thing I forgot to tell you, but I did it anyway, but I didn't want to interrupt you last time. We have a special thing to where when someone doesn't have a soda, we give them the empty glass of shame. And I was going to tell you. You saw it? Okay, good. I'm glad you at least saw it, because I completely forgot to tell you, and I cannot find where it is. Oh, here it is. Oh, no, that's Caleb's.
Glass of shame before.
Haven't you gotten it twice?
No, just once.
Just once. Okay, so I think MeBrother9.
I brought iced tea, but it was iced tea that wasn't supposed to have sugar in it.
So that's the farthest thing. The farthest thing.
It's just regular tea.
Well, MeBrother9 is breaking grounds with being the first person to have 2 empty bottles of shame. So congratulations. Already breaking records, and this is only your second podcast, which is awesome.
That's what I like to do.
Very nice. So, as for what we're talking about today, it's just a regular podcast, no themes. We're going to be talking about some video games and stuff. There's been some stuff going on in the Nintendo universe. Some things that come to mind is the Animal Crossing app, which actually came out relatively recently. Haven't gotten a chance to try that because my phone is an older version that doesn't support that app, unfortunately, and I'm too stingy to update. But there's also been other things, I think, right? Is there anything in the news area that anyone would specifically like to go over to start us off?
Well, I mean, so far Nintendo hasn't done a lot for news and what's coming up. And actually, I think that's news in and of itself, because almost every year for the past 4 or 5 years, we've gotten some kind of big direct in November, and now we've gone through the entirety of November without anything. We've had releases of stuff. I mean, we had the Mario 100 game, Pokemon came out, Splatoon 2 had a big update, and they're going to have some extra stuff. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is supposed to be coming out next week. Then the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, I think is what it's called, also just came out. So there's definitely been stuff going on.
Right.
We just haven't heard a lot of what's coming,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
It is interesting, especially because, like, it makes sense why they do a direct every November, and that's because it's right before Christmas and they can get all those sales. But maybe because they've already, like, pretty much shown their entire arsenal for Christmas, maybe there was no need to have a vendor direct. But it still is strange that they usually do, and this time they don't have one of these. They aren't showing stuff for, like, the next year and whatnot, which they usually do in directs anyway. So it is interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, most likely we're going to get something next January-ish area. I believe we had the big Switch Direct earlier this year in January. And I know they've got things coming because they've mentioned that there's Fire Emblem Switch. They've mentioned Yoshi and Kirby are both going to do things on the Switch. I'm guessing that Metroid Prime will eventually have some stuff to show, and Pokemon should have something to show as well sometime within the next year at least. So they definitely have stuff that they're cooking up. It's just a matter of when they're ready to show.
Yeah, that's true. That Pokemon thing too, that's something they specifically haven't talked about since the E3 release, right? They haven't said anything about the mainstream Pokemon. Interesting. Yep. So I wonder how much
they've just been focusing on Ultra Moon.
And they haven't given a year release. Is that correct? They haven't said when it's coming out.
No, I think it was really just like a picture of the one dude working at his desk, and he was like, "Oh, Pokemon's coming for the Switch, guys."
Yeah, right. So I wonder, maybe that one's going to be coming out maybe in 2019 if they haven't even mentioned the year yet. I think that's what I'd put my money on, because even Metroid Prime 4. They only had, like, a picture to show for that, basically. But they still said that's coming out in 2018, which I'm so excited for. And 2018 cannot come fast enough. Lately, it seems like this year in general, and it's looking like next year, too, it's going to have a really good... It's like a good year for Nintendo, almost. Like, 2017, obviously, had the Switch launch, but also had some really good games coming out. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, even the remakes people loved, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Splatoon 2. It just seems like a great time to be a Nintendo fan right now, because there's so many good Nintendo games coming out. Unfortunately, you still need money to get Nintendo games, so if you're a Nintendo fan and don't have money, you're still left in the dark like myself. But at least some people are experiencing awesome things like Samus Returns, which... I mean, it's been so long since, like, a Metroid game and whatnot, so this truly is the not a golden age of Nintendo, but, you know, a really good time for Nintendo fans, I think. I am so excited.
Nintendo's been killing it this year.
Yeah, they really have, which is such a contrast to some previous years with, like, the Wii U and whatnot. But I'm really excited to try some of the games, not only that they're releasing next year, but also this year as well. One day I'm just going to catch up and try to finally play that Mario Odyssey, as well as Breath of the Wild and stuff. And by the way, MeBrother9, last time we spoke, didn't you say you were soon to get a Switch?
Yeah, so when we spoke last, it was actually the day that Mario Odyssey came out. and I had gone to get my Switch earlier that day with Mario Odyssey. Since then, I have pretty much completed Mario Odyssey.
Very
I've done
nice.
almost everything in the game that you can, and there's a lot of good stuff. It's a very
That's good.
very solid game. It's a really good experience. They did a phenomenal job with it. It's not
That's great.
perfect. There are definitely some things here and there that could be tweaked, and it's definitely got a different play style than my personal favorite play style
Okay.
for Mario. I think the platforming in it is really good because Mario's move set is just fantastic. The way that you can combine
Yeah.
all the different jumps into each other is crazy. It's insane what they've managed to do to make things just so much fun to figure out and
Right.
and execute over and over and over
Yeah,
again. It's
yeah.
really great.
And
So they just don't take advantage of it in the way that I would like. Because
Okay.
like in Galaxy 2, the platforming levels that they had really tested your ability to use those skills. And I don't think they do that as much in Odyssey.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing around a lot. Is it's like it. Some people were saying that it kind of feels like they're just scratching the surface with some of the crazy like the different platforming stuff you could do with the different jumps and whatnot. A lot of people are saying that it didn't utilize it till its to its fullest potential like they would have wanted. But
Yeah.
I was noticing one thing I thought was really cool, and that everyone seems to say that there's anywhere in the map that you can pretty much get to. That like if you see a spot that you want to go to, you can do some crazy jump combination to get up there. But even with all the jump combinations, I heard a lot of people say that they just kind of wish there was more you could do with it. Like because I guess the words they use are like it's situational. A lot of the things are really cool, but it's just for a little situation that you can only use. I've never played the game, so I might be just
Yeah, no,
speaking
that's
whatever.
definitely in the area of what it's like. Because there's some really cool videos floating around of like these giant pillars and like archways above doors that look like you can maybe get up there, but it'd be really hard. And you see some nice, combo videos of Mario jumping all over the place and then getting up there. And then they get up there and there's coins up there. So like the
Okay,
developers
I
know
see.
you can get up there. They know that you
Right.
can take advantage of
Okay.
Mario's abilities to get up there, so they put something for you. So they know the capabilities of Mario and what
Right.
players can do, and they expect them to do it. They just didn't put more stuff like that in mainstream stuff.
Right.
In terms of like
Okay.
objectives for getting to moons or beating
Right.
bosses or getting through levels, which makes me excited for a Super Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, because that's if they go off of like what Galaxy 2 did for Galaxy 1, where they take the skills and the mechanics that the first game has and then just take it to a whole new level by implementing everything that they couldn't put in the first one that they knew
Right.
they could, but they just didn't put in because
Yeah.
maybe time, or they wanted to make it a little bit more accessible to newer players, younger
Right.
players, which
Right.
Nintendo always does. That's something that they're very
Absolutely.
focused on. We have to remember that if they can do what Galaxy 2 did for Galaxy 1 for the next Super Mario Odyssey, hopefully, that's in my personal opinion, then it would be exactly what people
Yeah.
wanted from
Right.
the,
Now
the missing stuff from this one.
Now, I find it interesting that you're saying like a lot of times you get to places with nothing being up there but coins and stuff, but at the same time I've also heard people saying that there are moons in the like literally everywhere that you can pick up very easily. Do you feel like they should have been put in better spots almost? Like instead of that one that was right in the middle of your path, maybe that should have been on that totem? Is that what you're saying? Like maybe if they spread it out a little bit so that it rewarded you for going up there since they had all the moons anyway?
Well, a lot of people complain about a lot of the moons that are literally just like you're walking along and there's just one chilling right there. It's super easy to see. You jump up, you get it. It's not much of anything. Or there's like a glowing ground pound spot that you ground pound, you get a moon, and there's not much to it. And I don't agree with people who say that they shouldn't have those in the
Okay.
game, because again, with the mindset that if you're a 4-year-old child and you're getting this
Yeah.
Switch, and you got to collect a certain amount of moons, but you're not really good at taking advantage of all the triple jumps and wall flips and all that type of stuff and finding all these things, then those little moons that are just put in your path are
They'll make
really,
your day.
really nice.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for them to get. It's easy for them to be like, oh, I got a moon. Yay, it's all fun and stuff. And that's really good for them. For for other players, more advanced players, it seems cheap and easy. And we're like, I can get that moon so easily.
Right.
And I can get all these other moons pretty easily too. So I definitely think it's not bad that they have those. I just wish that they extended the harder parts of the game even farther than what they put them at,
Gotcha.
and challenge players even more in places that they know that they can, because like I said, they put coins up there. They know that players can do that type of stuff, and they expect them to.
Right. And it's not really like when you have a game like Mario, and not a lot of other games have this, but Mario has such a broad demographic to where not only there are younger people playing, but there's also a lot of hardcore gamers out there playing these games, to where there's no such thing as a star that's a moon that's placed too difficult. Like, you'd imagine they wouldn't be worried about anything being too difficult because they know that their demographic's big enough to reach the people who will be rewarded for looking and stuff, because people will look there anyway. So why not just put more there? Why not reward the players? Because it seems like the question of is it too difficult to do this? That seems like that shouldn't even be there in a Mario game, unless it's required to beat the game. Like if a boss is too difficult, that's one thing. But like for extracurriculum in games, why not just make it as hard as it can go? Because players are going to do it. I mean, people want to do that kind of stuff. But I mean, there could be other reasons behind why they didn't do it. But I do agree that like I think it would be nice if they just filled in some of the harder spots with those stuff, because there's certainly players who will go up there and do those crazy jumps like you were saying to get up to places. And one thing I also wanted to ask you is, do you think it's the way the moon... So like the moons are the main collectible, right? And the only other collectible are really the coins. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's two types of coins, the purple coins and the gold coins.
Okay.
And gold coins definitely are more of a collectible than they are in any other Mario game, because they count towards more. You can actually buy stuff with them.
I think that's a great addition.
Which is huge.
I think that's such a smart move. I love that. I really love that. No despawnable coins, just or do they respawn or?
Yeah, gold coins will respawn.
Okay.
Because you got to keep collecting them as they come along.
Right.
It's the purple coins that don't.
The purple coins don't. And what do the purple coins work towards?
So they both do the same type of thing. You go to a shop and then you talk to someone. You can buy, usually the purple ones lead towards some costumes and some souvenirs from a particular kingdom. Because the way that they've kind of set up this game, I mean, it's an odyssey. You're going to all these different kingdoms. Right. The map is even a travel brochure. And so like you're visiting all these places and you get all these souvenirs from everywhere you're going to. You're really traveling across the world. And so the purple coins are individual to each and every kingdom that you go to. So you pick up the 50 that you get in one kingdom. You can't use those 50 purple coins to buy stuff at other kingdoms. It's only the stuff for that kingdom.
I see.
Gold coins are universal. They can be used in every single kingdom, and you also have to get a lot more of them to get everything. They also count towards your lives in the game, because you don't have lives. They've gotten rid of the horrible live system that no one likes. It's outdated, and people they've realized that it's not good to do that. So now you just like lose 10 coins when you die, and you get reset to wherever your last like checkpoint area was. You lose 10 coins, and you get right back into the thick of things, which is great. It's beautiful.
Great. I mean, in Mario 64, you lose all your lives. There's no actual punishment. You just have to go find your room again and just add some more time. It's pointless. So I think it makes a little bit more sense for like side-scrolling games and whatnot. But for a 3D game like that, you definitely don't need the lives. Even in side-scrolling, it's still kind of pushing it, because you're adding checkpoints anyway. So what do those lives really entail? But I don't know. Like if you wanted something to be a certain difficulty, instead of using lives, you could just use better placed checkpoints and stuff. So the live system in general for those kind of games doesn't seem extremely necessary. So I can see why they got rid of it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an outdated concept that more and more developers are starting to get rid of, which is nice. We're seeing a change in the industry in a bunch of different places. So I mean, we're moving forward. That's what's
especially
about.
with Nintendo. And I've actually been quite surprised this year of how adapting Nintendo has been to common trends, because that's not really their thing. They still obviously haven't jumped on the train for a lot of things, but like we've seen them being more open to certain things, such as region lock is no longer a thing on their systems, which is good. And So I'm having trouble thinking of certain. But there's been a couple around the year. I'm like, hey, good on you, Nintendo. That's a good thing. And there's also
another thing that they're doing that's in that reign that I actually just learned about today. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that's coming out next week has an option for you to listen with the original Japanese dub instead of the English dub, and it'll have subtitles, which is something that happens a lot in other games and other companies, and it's definitely showing that Nintendo heard people complaining about the trailer and the bad voice acting that didn't go over so well. No. And I'm sure that it sounds better in game, because when it's out of context like that in a trailer and it's not played with the music and in time and stuff, it definitely sounds worse. It doesn't mean that it's going to sound that great in the game either. I still don't think, I'm not positive.
Well,
but they can at least guarantee that people in the community that likes these type of games are very much, people who like, anime type of stuff. That's their demographic. That's their target audience. So this is the kind of thing that they would be very much into. So like Nintendo is definitely doing a better job of paying attention to fans and what we've wanted, what we're looking for, and just doing their best to push their games to us in the way that we want.
I think it's interesting with the whole voice acting debate, because it seems to always be Japanese versus English, and the gaming community tends to prefer the Japanese version. And sometimes I wonder if it's a little bit more of, because it's Japanese, they don't understand what they're saying. So if it is not great acting, it's hard to tell. And
that's
definitely it. Okay.
You can't tell that the lines are being delivered horribly,
right?
Because you don't understand so much.
So is that actually like a well-known?
To put in that it's sounding good.
Okay, I'm not very cultured in that community, so I that's just what my guess was. But anyway, just to swing it back over to Mario Odyssey, one thing I also wanted to ask is I was about to ask this. The moons all essentially have the same value, right? Because you're filling up your hot air balloon to go other places. I actually haven't. Is that right? I think that's right. Right? I've only seen footage.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
So do you feel like there should be more different types of collectibles that have different values, sort of? Something maybe like a gold moon or something in the harder spots to get, to make people feel more rewarded for going on this crazy route instead of getting the easy ones to the left? Or do you think it's just a mindset thing that doesn't matter too much?
I don't know about more collectibles, because the problem when you start adding more collectibles is you start to encroach upon the Donkey Kong 64 problem
too. Yeah.
Where like you have to go through a level many different times with many different characters, but the bigger thing is that you have to keep track of more totals, more percentages. You open up your menu screen and you're like, okay, I've gotten 20 out of the 25 of these ones and 30 out of the 36 of these ones, and it adds more to your thinking. So when you add more collectibles, you have to take that into consideration. Now, with moons, there are a lot. I mean, it's like 860 in the game, and then you can buy to max it out to like 999 or something like that. It's a lot.
You can buy? Do you mean DLC?
No, you buy them with coins.
Oh, you buy them with coins. Oh, okay. I was like, wait, they already have Odyssey DLC? How did I not hear about this? Okay. Yeah.
No, you buy them with some coins. Okay. That would be really bad if they made just buy moons with your money.
99 cents per moon.
That would be really scumbag.
Yikes. And we're not even talking about Battlefront yet.
No, you use in-game coins to buy some, and cool. You can buy them for as much as you want, I believe, to max it out to a certain number or whatever. Okay. They're just pretty expensive. I kind of like that. It's nice.
I think that's cool because it's at the end of the day you're still getting those coins by collecting them and stuff, and it's not necessarily a walk in the park. I mean, I don't know how easy it is to get those coins, but the fact that there still is a certain amount you can get, like there's a maximum that you can get, it's still like you can't just beat your whole game by only buying them, right? Or buying the those moons, right? Like you have to eventually get some on your own. So I think that's actually kind of cool, and it also gives more value to individual coins and whatnot. So I like that idea. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Yeah, coins definitely have a lot more going for them this time around. And I think because the coins and the purple coins have a lot more, I don't think there's as much of a need for another collectible, but I do kind of like the idea of like a gold moon. If anything, what I would see it as something that they kind of already have in the game. At certain points when you take down bosses, instead of just getting a moon, you get 3 moons. It's like a weird banana bunch looking thing.
Huh.
Okay. I saw that.
I would actually think that would be a good idea to put that in places that would have harder challenges, because then it really would feel like you're getting more for it.
Okay.
So I think that would be a nice idea.
That actually sounds solid. And from what I heard, the boss fights aren't that difficult anyway, but I could be wrong. I heard there's like 1 or 2 that's a real doozy. Maybe that's wrong too. I don't know. Did you have trouble with any of them?
Well, I have a hard time gauging how hard bosses are, because bosses are very subjective in terms of like, I can have a boss that I had a lot of trouble with, but then someone else was like, that was super, super easy.
Definitely.
Generally, all of the main bosses you fight in the game are pretty easy. I mean, you may die once or twice on a certain one here or there, but none of them are that difficult, and the game does a good job of giving you hearts to refill your health in the arena and keeping you just going. So some of them might be a little bit more difficult to get through the fight, but generally you get through most of the fights as they are.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. And a lot of the main bosses that you fight, and I think they have some like refights in them too. What I do like is that they have quick kills built in for a lot of the bosses. So it adds a little bit of replayability for it, which is nice.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't want to stay on Mario for the whole podcast, but I did want to ask another question real quick, because this one I have been really thinking about, and that's mainly just what's up with the worlds. Like, would you say it's following trends of previous games like 64 and Sunshine, or would you say it's still a little bit more separated, like the galaxies or whatnot?
Do you mean in terms of how you go through them, how you access each world, or in terms of like the theme of the world?
Like going through them and stuff, because like in Mario Galaxy, there's a lot of like clear this tiny planet, then you shoot off to another tiny planet. You clear that one, go to another tiny planet, and then the level's done, right? Like, it's kind of like a cluster of planets that you just go between all of them. While, 64 and stuff, they'll have like that tall mountain, which it might be called Tall Mountain or something. I think
Tall Mountain.
Yeah, that's actually what it's called. So they have that giant mountain, and you can spiral up to the top if you want, but you can also go to the side and go on the mushrooms. You can choose which way you want to go up. You can like go down the secret slide tunnel. Like just generally there was more exploration in those kind of worlds, and it was less starting line and finish flag or whatever they call it. Finish line.
Okay, I got you now. So Mario 64 is very open in terms of you can go a lot of different ways to get to specific areas. I actually think Tall Mountain is one of the worst examples in 64.
I was thinking that too. I was like, in my mind,
because in that one you just go up the mountain for almost all of them.
Right.
But like Bomb on Battlefield and I think it's Womp's Fortress. Those are really good examples of like you have different ways that you can get to different parts of the area. It's very open, and you can collect different power stars at different times. Like, you don't have to, you can go in for a mission, but you can get a power star for a different one. So it's a lot more open for that. And, then in Sunshine, they took a very, very backward step from that. It's very linear. Here's your power star or shrine that you get, and then you go straight to that one. You get that one. You can't really get any of the other ones, and then you're booted out and you go back in. Galaxy and Galaxy 2 were kind of similar-ish. Galaxy 2 was more closer to Sunshine. Galaxy 1 kind of had some options where which ones you could choose, but you still went in, you got that one, and then you came back out. They were still very linear.
And then how
Odyssey
does Odyssey?
Is more like 64 in terms of
that's good.
It's actually even better than 64 in my opinion for the open world aspect, because in 64 you'd get your power star, and then you'd usually get booted out of the level, and then you have to go back in. You could get different ones on a specific level, but you'd get kicked out and you have to jump back in the painting.
Mm-hmm.
With the moons, that would be awful if you got kicked out of the level every time because there's 800 plus of them.
Yeah.
So you'd have to go through all those animations 800 times. That'd be hours of your time just watching those animations.
Right.
So with it, they just have this really big open kingdom. They call them kingdoms. And so you've got this big area. You can go all sorts of different ways and find all sorts of different moons all over the place. You get it. You do a quick little animation, and then you're off to go find your next one.
Great.
It's very open. And whether you like linear or open is very subjective.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not to say that one is better than the other.
Right.
However, I think that the way that they approach the openness of Odyssey compared to 64 is better because of how easy it is. Just collect something and then keep going to get the next one.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's cool. And like fans have been asking for a long time, to have another Mario 64 like game. So I think it's really cool that they're at least, even if they're making just like this one game and then kind of going a different direction, at least they got some kind of modern rendition of Mario 64, which people have been asking for forever. So that makes me really excited to hear because that's the style I personally prefer, just probably because I've just played so much of the other style. So I think it's just it's nice to have a true, almost like a true successor to that, at least when it comes to map design. I would personally love to talk about Mario a lot more, but we are already like half an hour in through the podcast, so we should probably talk about some other things as well. I can't wait to try that game. But OwlTin, I would like to pick your brain for a bit, if that's okay.
Yep.
You recently got an Xbox One, and we actually have talked about it a little bit since. But there's something specifically I wanted to ask you just because I heard some stuff in the news. Did you say you have the new Need for Speed game?
Not the most recent one. I have the 2015 Need for Speed.
Okay.
But Need for Speed Payback, I think is what it's called. I don't have that yet, no.
Okay. Just because...
I don't think anyone does because it's coming out.
Oh, it's coming out?
Is it, or is it already out?
I think it's either already out or a lot of people have access to it. So
yeah, it's true.
It could be like just reviewers have access to it. I don't know, but basically,
been a lot of news on it.
The EA's kind of been going through some problems lately, and they've been on fire as of late. But they made that game recently. I didn't know if you said that was the one you had. So, but that one basically had some heavy accusations for being pay to win, and they recently started dumbing it down or trying to shut the pay to win aspects down for a bit. Just because of attention of another game that we'll talk about eventually. But first, I wanted to say if you have any new experiences with an Xbox One, OwlTin, I should give some exposition. OwlTin is a recent Xbox One owner. Congratulations, OwlTin. How do you feel about your recent purchase? He's also a relatively casual gamer. He doesn't play avidly, so it's always nice to hear his perspective on certain things, such as the Xbox One. You got anything for us?
Oh yeah, so I think it's been like 2-3 months since I got it, so it hasn't been too long. I don't know. I pretty much like like racing games and stuff like that. And Forza, I've been playing Forza a lot recently. I like just all the customization it has in it. Like if from any stage of racing, you can kind of play it unless you're super serious. Then you probably want motorsport or something. So Forza Horizon 3 is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of customization. It's really easy. It's kind of fun to pass around. Try out new cars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's pretty much everything I wanted and more, just because it's been so long since I got a modern console.
Right.
And it's the weirdest thing seeing ads for different games that are coming out, and then being able to I could potentially buy that.
Yeah, I know exactly how that feels.
That I've had ever almost, because I've always had older systems.
That feeling is the exact feeling, or the exact opposite feeling I get right now with Switch games, because I look at that, I'm like, oh, I can't get that right now. Used to feel that with the Wii U, but then now it's just like, oh, hey, Mario Odyssey, you were so far away, yet so close. But if I don't have a Switch by Metroid Prime 4 comes out, I'm closing this podcast. You heard it from here. But now
I'll hold you to that.
Why? What'd you say?
I'll hold you to that.
You holding to that? Oh, maybe I should have said that. So, have you had any growing concerns with any of the games? Like something that's slowly you realizing like, oh man, this is kind of annoying or something like that.
Forza is like super chill. Like you
Okay.
could just sit back, go on, buy some new cars, try them out, sell them back or something. You know, sell them to other people. There's a whole like auction where you can give cars to other people and they can bid on them, whatnot. That's really cool. And then Need for Speed, which is 2015. I don't know what the actual name for that. It might just be, most people just say 2015. I
Okay.
think. It has so much like customization, as in the sense of actual car customization, but then there's not a lot of extra like gameplay customization in that game. If that makes
Interesting.
sense.
Okay.
I don't believe you can change like the difficulty or you can't even pause the game when you're playing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
So,
seems to be
like,
a common like
You go,
online
you press start, and then your car just keeps rolling and you crash into
yeah,
something.
that bothers. That seems to be.
It's really annoying.
Yeah.
It's like
that's
like I need to go do something. I can't just pause the game and
Yeah.
it's like no, you have to play it all the way through. That's the most annoying thing
Right.
about that game.
Now, is that one of those kind of games that was made for online purposes? Like is the focus of that game playing online? Do you think?
You know what? I don't have any online play. You don't have to, but I think the major focus is more towards playing online because you get to share different wraps for your cars. I mean, you can do that in Forza Horizon as well, but like I don't know. It seems like it's more like show off your car to other people kind of thing because there's so many customized parts and a lot of I'd say it's more online based than it is like single player.
Because that seems to be a common trend is like when games are made specifically for online, there's a lot of single player aspects that are normally a standard, such as pausing the game. But since you can't really do that online, they build it off of online first, and it's like the same thing in a lot of Call of Duty games too. And some games on Steam I have found, I'm just like, what? I can't pause? Well, screw that. I'm just going to close the program. But
and here's the weird thing: if you lose connection, even if you're not playing with actual people, it will kick you off the game. Oh, you don't have a connection.
You don't even have Xbox Live.
I don't know. So
what's
it's
up
like
with that?
I remember once I was making some wrap for a car, and all of a sudden it crashed. I mean, not crashed, but it said, "Oh, you have no internet connection. You have to restart your game." And then it didn't save what I did. So it's like it's one of those things where you have to constantly save stuff just because it'll go off every once in a while. So you have to constantly save stuff, and then you have to get off, or you have to go. I don't know. It's kind of annoying.
That sounds really annoying.
It doesn't happen with Forza though.
That's good.
But
so but it doesn't have to be played with internet connection. It just makes you restart it every time it happens.
I actually think it needs to be played with internet connection.
Wow, that's totally bizarre, especially because you don't even have Xbox Live. So why would you even want to use it for internet?
I don't know. I actually searched that though because there's like a EA profile you need to have with it. So when that gets offline, I think what happens is, you don't have an EA. I don't know what it's called.
That's quite
profile.
bizarre.
And then
that'd make me angry. I wouldn't be able to stand that. I'd be like, oh, I'm just going back to playing Nintendo games. But that's. I remember a while back when someone kind of got blown up because he said when the Xbox was coming out that like the Xbox is going to be always online, and a lot of people were really upset about that. And his response was, everything's online nowadays, deal with it. And then he ended up getting fired or something like that. Or they agreed
is
that
old meme, right? Is that the same thing?
It became a really old meme. It was never that big, but it was still pretty funny.
I just remember your computer screen was just like deal with it, like repeated like a ton of times with that guy's face on it.
Right. Long time ago.
Long.
Yeah.
Long
so for the listeners don't know, or in case the listeners don't know, OwlTin and I actually know each other outside of YouTube and stuff. So we have a bit of it. That's a bit of a history, I guess. I that's why I knew he didn't have Xbox Live and stuff. But what I always I don't know why I needed that disclaimer, but basically the after even today, this was like way back in 2014 or something. 2013? When did I can't remember when the Xbox One came out.
I don't even know. It's been out for a little bit now, though.
Yeah,
I think it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago. So 2014, right, because it was a little bit after the Wii U. Okay, that makes sense. So in 2014, he said that, like, everybody has internet now, right? Just deal with it. And then come forward to 2017, obviously there's cases like this where we don't have internet every once in a while. I mean, your thing crashes every once in a while, so would you not be able to play the entire Xbox if that guy was still around, they made the Xbox always online? It's kind of weird to have people assume that everyone is always online, especially in America when the internet coverage is pretty unreliable compared to many other regions.
Unreliable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in places around Europe. So it's just kind of weird. It's like, what do you mean everyone's always online? We got things like that still. Let us at least fix these problems. There probably will be a day and age where everyone will be online at every point in time, but it's not here now, and it wasn't here in 2014, that's for sure. That's just something.
Yeah, I think it shows a big difference between company philosophies when you look at the Xbox One and the Switch, especially with the Xbox One. So they were very much, you have to have it in this certain condition, always online. You have to be able to play like that in order to play. It makes it less accessible for the general populace because you have to have it in a certain condition. Mm-hmm. The Switch is very much the opposite because it's a pick up and go. Yeah. You don't even have to be at home to play these games. So like it's interesting how things have turned around to show the difference in the company's philosophies. And I know Xbox, eventually after the backlash went off against saying, we're not going to have it all be always online. And I actually know there were some stories of developers who spent, weeks, months and stuff working on that. Because actually, I know a guy who was working at Microsoft around that time, and he had other people, friends at Microsoft, who worked on that specifically to make it so that it was always online. Okay. And that when it was announced that they were no longer doing it online, that it was really rough for them because they spent all that time working on it. Now they had to turn around. But I mean, when a higher up makes what seems like a good decision, but doesn't have the foresight to really understand what they're doing, then it changes a lot.
Right. That's that also kind of takes us to our next topic, which is Star Wars Battlefront, which I don't plan on staying on too long, just because I know a lot of people have talked about that. But just about what you were saying of higher ups making certain decisions without getting a clear understanding of what the majority gaming population wants, or at least find acceptable for that matter. So EA recently, or Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the good one, the new one. That one pre-orders came out, and the loot boxes were worse than people thought, or something like that. I don't know the full story, because like there was always loot boxes, but I guess it got worse when the pre-order people were able to play, and the pre-order people were able to play before it actually came out. So EA kind of caught on fire before the game was even released, which is not great for them. That's especially for a game like that. I'm not sure if that game would be. That game's considered AAA, right? Like,
yes,
yeah, that's a AAA.
Yes, it is
game.
Very AAA.
Yeah, so before release comes out, when your game gets blown up like that, that's troublesome for them. But basically, there was a lot of pay to win aspects in the game when it first came out through loot boxes, and my oh my. So you basically buy stuff. I have problems with loot boxes in general. I kind of always have. I think it would just be nicer for everyone if you knew what you were buying. I think even when it comes to like cosmetic things, such as in Overwatch has plenty of loot boxes, but it's all cosmetic and it's for costumes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I can understand wanting to charge people for costumes because they're still adding more content to the game, and some of their costumes are really good. I mean, it's relatively hard to make that good costume. At least I assume so. I've never tried it before. So, but it just seems like it would be a good business practice to make sure people understand what they're buying in a web store and not possibly getting something good and then possibly getting something that's not worth the money that they want to put in. And the fact that Star Wars Battlefront 2 went as far as to give you advantages for paying money for a practically strictly online-based game. They have a really dinky campaign mode or something. But for a really online-based game, I'm curious as to how they thought that would go over well. Like, how did you not realize that people would be upset about this? About pay-to-win stuff. I mean, nobody likes pay-to-win. You find that kind of stuff in like App Store games and stuff, and even then people don't like it. And you're going to have a AAA game that has a name as big as Star Wars on it, which is now owned by Disney, so that's even bigger. You're going to make a mistake like that? Like, I don't understand who in the boardroom said this is going to fly. That's what that's what I'm boggled about. But
I'm sure it comes down to a whole bunch of small decisions made, they're like, we're making an online multiplayer game. What's the best online multiplayer game right now? Well, there's PUBG and there's Overwatch. Those are the two really big ones. And Overwatch is very AAA, just like we are. And what are some things they do that we can do very similar? Oh, they've got these loot boxes. Yeah. We could do that too. And then but we'll make it a little bit different. We'll change it a little bit in this way. And it's just like a bunch of small decisions building up on each other before they realize what all of those culminate into this big mass of just bad stuff.
Bad. Yeah. I think the strangest thing. You go ahead, Al.
Is there a market where you can like put your stuff up on a market and try to sell it for a price to other people, or is it just like, you do it, you get what you want, you loot a box and you can't give it to anybody else? You can't sell it to somebody else? Or is there like a market?
That's actually a good question. I'm not sure about that. If you could resell stuff.
I don't know exactly how they're handling you getting loot boxes, but I'm pretty sure it's associated with an account. So when you log into the game with your specific, PlayStation Network account, you buy a loot box or whatever, and then it's with that account that you can use it. So it's not really something that you could redistribute. Definitely not in game. I doubt there's any kind of codes associated with it or whatever to allow you to give it out. And the worst part is that you could sell it to other people, but who's going to buy the loot box, not even knowing what's in it? That's the part that leads to gambling and everything. But if I'm a person, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a loot box. I can buy it, infinite amounts of them on this PlayStation Network store, for the lowest price I can find. Or I can buy it from someone else who's only going to want to resell it for a higher price or the same price. Then there's almost no reason to do that, and the other people wouldn't put it at a lower price because then they're paying money to lose money. So it's it's just awful all around.
That also would bring less sales to the actual market that's selling it for the first place. Like if they're selling loot boxes that are cheaper than that on the actual marketplace, obviously they're going to buy it there instead of the market. So just like a bad decision all around. Like it's kind of like a nobody wins scenario, I'd imagine.
So if you win something, you can't try and sell it to somebody else. There's something like that with CS:GO and stuff like that.
Yeah, and CS:GO also has the custom, it has the workshop, the Steam workshop where people make custom stuff, and that's more understandable because this is creators creating things and being able to sell their stuff, and you find a really cool skin, you can just give it to your friend if you want and stuff. I would say CS:GO works it out decently, at least having something. You see, I still don't like CS:GO's loot boxes, but it still is nice that there's a certain value to every weapon, and you can.
Those values don't change due to the loot boxes.
Right. Well, and you get them from just playing the game normally. You'll get certain stuff that you can actually make money off of by just playing it normally. Usually just like a couple cents, maybe $1 here and there. But it's still, at least at least it's something you can do something with. A lot of people compare loot boxes to like a pack of Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering cards and whatnot, or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, to where you go to the store, you buy a pack, you don't know what you're going to get, but once you get it, if there's something rare in there, you're like, awesome, I have this. And a lot of people say, well, why are loot boxes so bad when cards are doing this like all the time and stuff? And while one could question the ethics of packs of cards and stuff like that, and I mean, I certainly don't think that's completely reasonable to sell random cards. But in their defense, when you're buying Pokemon cards, you're getting something that is essentially timeless if you take care of it, right? Like if you have that card, you have that forever. That's really different for digital things in online games. One day your internet goes out. You can't use anything you bought from those loot boxes. One day EA shuts down the servers like they did for Star Wars Battlefront 2 after putting it on sale so long ago. The most frustrating thing that they did in my lifetime. But it's like that's not permanent when you buy those loot boxes. And if you can't even sell them, you just hold on to them until you find another game to start playing. So you're really putting money into essentially nothing. Just a couple hours of being able to play as Darth Vader. And what's funny about this whole thing is that it's no joke that a lot of the people who play Battlefront 2 really like being the Jedis and the Siths. They like using the lightsaber. That's one of their favorite things. I personally have not cared too much about it. It's not really been my thing. I just prefer to shoot people. But
I just prefer to shoot people.
Yeah, but like I know like some of the busiest servers ever since they brought back Star Wars Battlefront 2 online servers have been just Jedi matches where everyone's a Jedi into it. That's too chaotic for me. But it's people like to play as Jedi and stuff, and they knew that when Battlefront when this is so confusing because they had to name them the same names. Let's say Battlefront. I'll say Battlefront and Battlefront 2 for the EA, because you just slide the EA inside Battle, and it's perfect. So in Battlefront, when that came out, people were really upset because you get your heroes by finding little cards on the map, and whoever happens to spawn closest to it gets it. That's obviously a terrible system. In Battlefront 2, you have to get a certain amount of points, and then you get it. Or every 30 seconds, a different person gets it, but it takes turns. You can customize how you want people to get your Jedis. But people are really upset because it's like, well, I spawned miles away from this. Why does he get it when I don't? This is his third time he gets to play as Luke Skywalker, and I've been playing for months, and I haven't gotten it once. That was their problem. That there was no reason to have random Jedis and Siths comes. And it boggles me a little bit that they would go as far as make them available in loot boxes, because that seems like, oh, that's so much farther in the other direction. Wouldn't you rather? Okay, I should also preface this by saying I don't own Battlefront 2, and I also don't know much about the way loot boxes work in that. But from my understanding, you do get heroes from loot boxes and opportunities to use them. Well, does that
okay? No, I was just like, that's.
I thought you were saying, I think you're wrong about that, Pat. No. Okay.
No.
So it's
that
like,
just sucks.
I know it does suck, especially after the original Battlefront came out and people were saying, why can't we play as these stupid heroes? That's what we want to do. And then the famous post on Reddit finally happened saying, why do I have to play for 40 hours to play as Darth Vader? Because you can play to get credits, in-game money, to then buy the loot boxes. And that's their only defense against, this is completely fine. You can also play to get it. But then people started looking into how long it actually takes to get things, and it takes 40 hours, according to this one person, to get Darth Vader. I have no idea if that's true or not. But what I do know is that the replies to that, EA did a certain reply that kind of went down in infamy and became the most downvoted post in Reddit history. And this was just a reply. This wasn't even a post. And that's kind of what started the attention of the whole thing. And I'm kind of sitting back like, oh, this is kind of nice. People are kind of seeing some stupid stuff about this game, which I think is good, because EA was kind of EA-ing things up. But it basically, I don't even know where I started with this. You buy Darth Vader, and you have him until EA shuts down the servers. You buy a Pokemon card, you have it for your lifetime, and you can always play that game again. You can break out the Pokemon cards 30 years later if you kept them all, You just break them out and say, "Hey, your son, take a deck. I'm gonna have a deck. We're gonna play a game of Pokemon cards." That's something permanent and timeless that you are getting. And with most packs of Pokemon cards, I don't know how it works for other things. I only ever bought Pokemon cards. I'm not really in that game anymore, but when I was younger, I collected tons of Pokemon cards. I have binders and binders full. But usually the packs would have, they'd be like, okay, you have this many options, but no matter what, you're going to get this one rare card, quote unquote rare. I don't know how rare they actually were, but a lot of times it'd be like, you're going to get like four of these cards, which aren't that good, but you might get something you like, and you're going to get one card that's relatively good. So at least there's some idea of what you're getting. Then they also had the decks, which was actually my main source of getting Pokemon cards, which they had 60 cards, and you knew what every single card was when you're buying it. And that's just different from loot boxes, so it's not incredibly relevant. But it's still like, it makes more sense for physical things instead of things that are digital with changing values. Loot boxes can go up in price, they can go down in price, and you could have wasted money on something that you don't know what to do with now because the servers might have shut down or something. So in general, I think loot boxes is a horrible habit that we should I wish games would try to get out of. And then also, but to make pay-to-win loot boxes, that's when you step over the deep end. That's mixing two different darknesses to make the darkest dark you've seen. And that's kind of why EA's been having it hard on the PR side lately. But I don't know. The whole thing just kind of bothers me. Just because I love the Battlefront name so much. I love the original Battlefront games. And it makes me sad seeing not only them doing stupid stuff, but also seeing them take such a beating for that stupid stuff, because it makes it less and less likely to it makes it less likely to have a new really good Battlefront game in the near future. I can't see how there would be a Battlefront game that recaptures what the old ones captured in the future, because for one, it's owned by EA, and EA seems to not go that extra mile that I want them to ever. But I don't know. It's just something that's bothering me lately.
You're completely right to be bothered. I mean, yeah. I have a whole thing about loot boxes, and I'm about to go a little bit in on loot boxes because
okay.
it bothers me, because I'm a game developer myself, and so like when I see things that I feel are wrong in the industry, then like it really irks me. And
you're right.
There are a lot of different things, especially when it comes to exploiting people for their money. Now, of course, you can get mad at people for being exploited, but we have gambling, and we know what gambling is. We know how it works on the brain, and right. People exploit it. And you have to regulate it, though. There's definitely regulations put on gambling. You can only do it in certain places. You have to get certain licenses and stuff, and you have to let people know that this is gambling. They have to be of a certain age to gamble and do this type of stuff.
Right.
And gambling comes down to putting a whole bunch of time and money into getting pretty much nothing back. But there's a chance you do get something, right?
Yeah.
So loot boxes are watered down in terms of how negative the consequences are, because you get more out of them than you would gambling for the amount of time that you put in initially. Because when you've just started the game and you're opening up all these loot boxes, you're getting all this crazy new fun stuff, all these costumes, voice packs, all this new stuff that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
But then as it goes on and you get more and more and you have more of the stuff, you get a lot more repeats. Right. And you get a lot of the same stuff over again. And and then the fact that you can put money into, you could pay. This is also a problem in Fire Emblem Heroes, I think it is, where you could pay for like the orbs and stuff. It's bad. It's bad for humans, and it's exploiting them, because it's saying like you can spend thousands of dollars and you get next to nothing on it, because you're just addicted to the dopamine shot you get when you do get the thing that you want, right? And comparing it to Pokemon cards is completely different for multiple reasons. One, you brought up that I was going to bring up, is that with Pokemon cards, sure, you have the little booster packs. You get 6 cards or whatever, and you don't know what the cards are going to be. They're going to be part of the Evolution set or the Sun and Moon set. So there's like a certain amount of 138 cards that it could be possible, sure, but it's still random. You still don't know what you're getting. Maybe for a fact that you will get a rare holographic type card. So like a costume, like a skin or something in a loot box, right? That's how I would compare those two types of things. You don't always get a costume. You don't always are guaranteed. I like loot boxes more if you guaranteed something cool every time.
Right.
Or if you were guaranteed something new. Now, Pokemon cards don't do that. However, getting repeats with Pokemon cards is better. Because you need them. To build decks, you need to have 4 Torchics.
Right.
Because you want to build your deck stacked so that you can pick up a Torchic to get your Combuskin. And you have 2 Combuskins to make sure that you get that Blaziken out there. It's good to get repeats. You build up a collection. You can trade them. You can send them to people. You can't do that with loot box repeats. You don't even get it. You don't even technically have 2 of this skin. It just goes off into ether. You get nothing.
Right. And the trading thing, I think that excuses Pokemon even more is that you get multiple of a good card. Great, trade it to your friend. You can get something good for that. So it's completely different, especially when they don't allow you to do anything with these new skins. You can't trade them to other people. It's no actual currency. While Pokemon cards is a currency. It's a defined currency by what other people want. But anyway, I just wanted to say that's a good point with trading and whatnot.
Yeah, so like if I would like loot boxes a lot more if you could do those types of things. Like if you could build up, I've got a set of these things now, I can trade them with my friends. I don't always have to want all the stuff I get, but like, hey, my friend got 3 Reinhardt skins of this Reinhardt skin I want, but I've got 2 Sombra skins that he wants. We can switch them up. I get something out of it. He gets something out of it. We all get something out of it, and it's just a lot better for that. And then of course, as you said, they've got like the decks and the big old packs. I bought one myself, just a couple months ago. I got a big old Tapu Koko EX shiny pack, and like you knew some of the things you were getting in that because they say what you're getting on some of the. I mean, you see some of the cards, you see that, like, I got the Tapu Koko one because I knew I was going to get Tapu Koko. He's awesome. He's like one of my favorite Pokemon. That's why I chose that one, because I knew I was going to get something I wanted from it. So.
And just another continuation of that, when you're buying Pokemon cards, you're never limited to only buying something that could be good, could not be good. Like, you always have the option to buy it elsewhere. You could like get random cards, or you could get a deck which has every single card listed on the back of the box. So it's not like you're forced to get something by chance. There's also such things as buying cards online, which is a great way to buy cards because you can get exactly what you want online and stuff because it's physical. It could be in anyone's hands and you can get it in any different means. That's just not the case with things like loot boxes because it's all run on digital servers that don't let it go anywhere else. They keep it right there. It's not physical. It doesn't transfer to other games or anything like that. You can't sell it on eBay. So it gives much less value to it. So yeah, definitely Pokemon is more excusable.
And like they could make loot boxes good. They could make them in a way that's fun. Like I've played Overwatch and I've gotten loot boxes and like, I'm excited to see what I get from the box. Like like it does have good aspects to it. They just exploit things in a lot of really bad ways that if they changed them, it would still be fun. It would still be entertaining. It just wouldn't go so much towards the gambling side of things that they could really put these things and these mechanics that still work in the same type of ways to keep people replaying and coming back and wanting to play these online games for 60, 70 hours more with these matches over and over because they still get stuff and they like the stuff that they get too, So like it's so frustrating because they could make it good, but they don't.
Definitely. Making anything that gives you my philosophy, and I mean, I'm not a game developer, so you'd probably know a lot more than I do, but my philosophy when it comes to game balancing has always been the only advantage you should have is your experience alone. I'd prefer other than a little bit of luck here and there to add some variation to the games or whatnot. I'm not saying every game has to be extremely hardcore, no luck chess or anything like that. But you look at Smash Brothers. You pick a character in Smash Brothers. No matter what, if someone else picks that character, you start on a level playing field. Assuming you do no items or whatever, you both start on a level playing field, and the loser's going to lose because they played worse. That's what it's going to come down to. But when you have other things that make you better and whatnot, it gets rid of this whole learning experience between the two players, because if someone creams a new person at Smash Brothers Melee or something, they both play as Fox, the other guy just falls down and dies really quickly. He's learning by what the other person's doing. He's learning, oh, he did this and that made him help win and stuff. Like, I can understand that. I have to try to work to be better at that. But when you have things like loot boxes or pay to win loot boxes specifically, when you die to someone else who's better than you, you're not thinking, you're not seeing, this is how I make myself better. What you're seeing is just like, I lost my train of thought. Well, what you're seeing is, hey, this guy bought this. I could buy that also. I could put more money into this game. And then just maybe one day I'll be able to beat someone that's completely for an unfair reason. I can cream that guy even though he didn't do anything wrong, and he's not going to learn anything from it either. And I think just in general, I feel like games should just have a way more level playing field nowadays. Like nowadays, there's so many things that they don't sell as pay to win, obviously, but you kind of look, it's like, oh, that's actually a really pay to win aspect. And I don't know, it just bothers me. I only say that just because there's been recent things on the, for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty involved in Minecraft, which is, I know, something kind of weird, but there's been recent servers and stuff with doing stuff like that, and it's been bothering me. But yeah, I think loot boxes are, as of right now, a nasty habit, and like you said, I just wish they could do it right, because there's ways there's ways to make money off of a game that you've already sold right, and I feel like a lot of companies aren't doing that, and it's annoying. But also, I think it's completely different when a game is free and when it's paid. I still don't think there should be pay to win stuff in a free game, but loot boxes are much more understandable, I think, in a free game, because at the end of the day, it's like if you play Battlefront and there's all these pay to win aspects, you're like, okay, I want my money back. Give me back my $100 or whatever I spend on it. While for a free play game, it's just like, okay, I didn't put anything into this anyway. If people are beating me for lame reasons, all right, whatever, I just won't play it anymore. But to see a game that's AAA and $60 like Battlefront 2 also have all this stuff, it makes me upset. But yeah, anyway.
It's a rough state.
It is, and it's becoming kind of a common trend, which is unfortunate.
Because it seems like it's sort of working.
Yeah, well, it works.
Because they're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It does exactly what it's built to do,
definitely.
for sure. And that's why it works and why other companies are taking it. It doesn't mean that it's good in a business sense, but it's not good in a player or a moral sense, right?
Yeah.
Right, and like the thing about adding loot boxes and whatnot, you could get someone who just pays $60 for the game, but at the same time, you have from someone just paying $60 to people paying thousands of dollars just on in-game stuff. So you have this giant range, and although there might be certain people who just stick with $60, at the end of the day, the fact that you even have that option to pay higher, they're going to make a lot more money just by people who are willing to put that in, maybe because either they don't care, either they have the money to spare. I know specifically a lot of YouTubers and streamers will put money towards these things because they can afford it. And it's their job. It's their job to play the games and whatnot, so they'll put in tons of money into in-game markets and whatnot. And they're making bank. It's something that certainly works. It's just a shame is all. And even the people who buy it usually know it's a shame. They're just like, well, I want this stuff and I can afford it, so it makes sense for me to get this right now. And it's hard to blame them. If you got the money, if you're rich as heck and you can buy anything in the world, who's going to really blame you for buying an island? You got the money and it doesn't make a dent in you. Do what you want. It's just not a good business habit, basically, is what it comes down to. And it's people are normalizing it by making more and more games having it. So eventually people are just going to be less and less aware of why it's a bad thing or whatnot. Hopefully not, but it seems like that's how it's going to go, because a lot more games are having loot boxes and whatnot. And I don't know.
That's why Battlefront has been so huge. And for all the bad that it's done, it's actually done something that's really good in being what do they call it in the Hunger Games? She's like the spark to the flame or whatever that they refer to her as. Like it starts the fire hey, this is actually not something we
Right.
like. And other companies will see that, and they'll see the
Backlash. Yeah.
to Battlefront, and will consider it more
Right.
in the future. It's not going to go away initially, at least.
No.
And so
It'll be
like,
in people's minds too. Like, I know some people were saying that Battlefront's going to, or sorry, Battlefront 2 is going to make lots of money anyway. Even though they, by the way, I didn't mention this to any of the viewers out there who didn't know. They said as of right now they removed all the microtransactions from the game. They completely removed loot boxes. They specifically, not specifically said, but they heavily implied that it's going to come back later, or not even that. They heavily implied that it's gone for now, like underline for now. So
For now.
it could just be once all the heat dies down, they bring it back, maybe a little less cheaper. Some people will get upset, but at the end of the day, one thing that's good that came from all this is that this all started happening before the game even came out. So it's going to continue. It's going to still be fresh in people's minds at least until after Christmas. So this definitely is going to have a damper on their price. Like that, this is going to hurt their game. It's they're going to lose a lot of money because of their decisions. And even if they bring it back down the future, which they most likely will, the Battlefront, the last Battlefront game, that one was only popular for a few months. Eventually, everyone just stopped talking about it. It's not
There
a
was
game.
so much hype.
Right. There was so much hype. People talked about it. A lot of people, I think, were just kind of on the same boat, being like, it's okay. It's not as good as the old ones. And that's kind of how I was on, except I thought it was even less okay, but I just could be biased. Anyway, it's still... Battlefront 2 is the same thing I think is going to happen, to where it's not going to stick around that long anyway. And at the end of the day, the first 2 months when it came out, that much profit from Christmas sales or whatnot, that's going to be a big chunk of money that they didn't get, which is overall, I think that's why a lot of people are considering this a victory. They say we got it, we did it, we got them to take it out, and they're not going to be making money from it for the first 2 months, and that's the most exploitable time, is during Christmas time and whatnot. So
Yeah.
at least that's good. That's why a lot of people are saying it's a victory and whatnot. When in reality, EA in general is not going to be affected that hard. I think their stock went down, but EA's stock goes down all the time. Everyone knows EA is a scumbag company. They won multiple worst company of the year awards almost every year. The cat's out of the bag. It's just this specific incident speaks a lot to future developers, saying, hey, don't do this, because they got crapped on so hard for doing that. So don't do that, okay? And that's the important thing. At least so much awareness has been raised. So hopefully that will swing some people in the right direction when making games in the future. And I think that about covers everything of the Star Wars Battlefront story that we would talk about today. We are getting relatively close to our closing time, which means we can go into our segments. But, I completely forgot to tell OwlTin we had a new segment. Oops. But because he was last minute. But we could also cut one of the segments if we want, if there's something else you guys want to talk about, just because I know we've only talked about a handful of topics here because they're so in-depth. But if there's something you really wanted to mention on the show, we could do that instead of this segment, if you guys would like. Is there anything that comes to mind? No. Okay. Well,
No.
Cool. We can just move on to the segments then. We'll start off with the question segment. OwlTin, you know very well the question segment, but you don't have a question, right? Taking a guess? All right. So, no. I can go first if you guys would like, while you think of one, Caleb. I actually write mine down because I always forget. Okay.
It's like in the background there.
Yeah, I've forgotten my questions so many times for the show. I finally just write it on the board. So, my question is a very bizarre one. You guys ready for a really bizarre question? But it's going to be kind of fun. You ready? Out of every occupation a Nintendo character has had, what would you choose to have for the rest of your life? Now, it's completely bizarre, but just to throw some ideas out there. Dr. Mario's the doctor in that one. You've got a Harvest Moon. You got a farmer in there. You got farmers. You got all sorts of occupations in Nintendo characters. So something that you think, that would just be really cool to do for the rest of my life. Or even, that's the coolest thing I can think of to do for the rest of my life. Doing one thing for the rest of your life is always a scary thought, but something that you might be most comfortable with.
Whatever
Also,
it is that Kirby does sounds awesome.
I was
Because he just eats and
Right.
eats and eats and saves the world a couple times, has awesome music. Like, I mean, that's
true.
the goal.
That's the life right there. I was hoping no one would say Wario because I think that's pretty far from an occupation. I can't imagine him having any occupation.
Be a slob.
Just a slob. It's not even. Yeah. But also that Mario has been around in a lot of jobs. Mario's certainly been around the block with a lot of jobs. If you like boxing, you could even choose being a boxing referee like Mario was in Punch Out, or a typing teacher in Mario's typing class. I forget what it's called.
Oh gosh, please no.
you get a typing teacher. That sounds so fantastic, man. Sounds like the most
Sounds just
entertaining
like
job.
me.
That's like you. Could you
no,
see yourself
no.
being a typer or teaching people how to type?
No,
No.
I'm not very good at typing.
Okay, well,
I don't know. Maybe explore the galaxy with Mario and Mario Galaxy.
it'd be pretty cool.
Astronaut?
Astronaut. There we go.
There you go. And I'm sure.
I mean,
there's-
that's kind of a
there's-
stretch, but
I'm
like,
sure there's actual astronaut characters there, though. And this is kind of a weird question, I know, because it's like there's so many different
I'm not
occupations.
like super familiar in the realm of occupations
right.
in Nintendo.
Well,
What would yours be?
you know, being a garbage man, such as Olimar in Pikmin, that'd be pretty cool. You just pick up a bunch of garbage and send it to space and make some money off it. That'd be pretty cool. Life-threatening mobs. Nah, I don't think I'd want to do that. It sounds
For the reward it grants, it's not worth it. You think?
Probably not. Okay, you know what it is? I'd like to be Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country, where he just no, Funky Kong from Donkey Kong 64, because he's just got like guns and he gives them to people and he does nothing else. Just sits there and makes guns. That sounds kind of cool. Not just any guns, the most unique guns you'll find anywhere. You got coconut guns, man. Coconut guns. Can you imagine having a bullet the size of a coconut? That sounds gnarly. I'm all over that. Funky Kong Dog Kong
That
64.
actually sounds pretty cool now.
That does sound very good. You're changing yours? You want to be Funky Kong? Everyone could be Funky Kong if they really want to, Caleb. That's okay. And then also, no, that wouldn't be good. No, yeah, that's what I got. Let's go with Funky Kong. It's just a weird question. I don't know why I asked it, but I just thought it was funny to think of all the different occupations people have in the Nintendo universe, because it's such a bizarre Japanese universe. Hamilton, you've cooked something up? Have you cooked something up by now?
No.
No. Okay, you got something for
I've
me?
been too focused on action.
Cool, I got something.
You got something.
So, The Legend of Zelda has seen many partner characters in it. Now, if you were to take all the partner characters and put them in a Hunger Games Battle Royale, who do you think would come out on top?
Oh man, not Navi, is there strict classifications as to what a partner is, or
any of the like guide characters
okay.
that had? So, you know, Navi, Tal, Midna, the King of Red Lions, you know, those kind of characters.
Okay, as far as I'm aware of, Navi would probably beat Fi, just because Navi doesn't need any substance to live, while Fi needs to recharge her batteries like every 5 seconds. So Fi would probably be out first. She wouldn't be able to survive very long. Midna can do some crazy Twilight things. I think she'd make it far. She's one of the few ones who've actually done combat, to my knowledge. And I'm having trouble thinking of the other guide character. Oh, the King of Red Lions? He's screwed. I'm sorry. He's gonna someone's just gonna light him on fire. He's out of here. I like these questions. We're off to a good start with the question segment. What are some of the other guides?
Well, there's Eslo, the hat bird thing from Minish Cap.
Oh, I haven't played Minish Cap. Oh, but it's the hat,
Minish Cap?
right? Yeah. No, I haven't. I know. I'm missing out. I know.
It's a phenomenal game.
I know. But the problem is just that every Zelda game is like that. You know, it's like if I would have said I've never played now I'm trying to think of a good way. Like, even just like I've never played Majora's Mask. Some people are like, what? You haven't played Majora's Mask? It's hard. It's hard to play them all. But he makes you small, right? I'd imagine that'd be good. He just turns small and you could hide the whole time. I don't know. Are you grabbing something for show and tell?
No, he walked away.
I'm just upset.
You're upset? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have not played Minish Cap. I know. I've heard really good things. Every Zelda game's got like their really strong cult following, and I feel bad that I can't quite appeal to them all. Also, Nintendo doesn't make playing old games extremely easy with prices and whatnot. But I mean, I guess it's still good prices. I don't know. There's just so much good stuff on the eShop. It's hard. It's really hard. And I don't have money. The fairies could just fly away and survive forever. I think they'd have to win. In fact, the Hunger Games wouldn't end. It's a trick question. It wouldn't end. Those two guys would just fly up and they'd just be saying, "Hey, listen," the entire time. Might bump into each other. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you're not going to make any progress. Navi never made any progress anyway. So I'd say they are the closest thing to winning. Maybe I took this question way too seriously. I'm sorry. But it's just...
No, that's good. That's how it's supposed to be.
Okay, all right. It was a fun question. Owl, you...
I don't think I have an answer to the question.
I'm not sure if Owl's ever played a Zelda game. I mean, beaten one. You've
beaten one.
Tried one or two, but...
Yeah.
Okay, just
I'm
say...
sorry.
Personally...
I just offended everybody, like, listening.
Yeah, I just said I didn't play Minish Cap, and he said he hasn't played them all, and you didn't walk away. Yeah,
I've already been upset.
Yeah,
I've been disappointed. You know, it doesn't get much lower.
Yeah, this is his last podcast. He's not coming back. He's very upset. Do you have an answer for us?
Yeah.
So, I thought I'm like,
we were asking.
Oh, I was asking me, brother. Or wait, your name is Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Dallas. Yeah, you got.
So for me, it comes down to Tattle and Midna, because Midna.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, have you seen what she's been able to do in the game? I mean, like she's done some crazy Twilight magic type stuff, and that wasn't even in like her full power. However, Tattle, the little fairy that she is, completely bonked Link so hard at the beginning of the game. I mean, like she hit him so hard, and she's a sassy fairy. I think she could take Navi any day of the week.
All right,
for real. And
Manny can't even
just comes down between Midna and Tattle. It'd be close, but I got to go with my waifu Midna, so that's what I ended up with.
But to be fair, Midna was actually seen getting really sick in Twilight Princess, which means it shows a little bit of vulnerability, which you don't really find from some of the other fairies. But I don't know. Who knows? Midna certainly is a deadly person. Man, I was really hoping Midna would make it into a Smash game. I remember I was really hoping that when I first played Twilight Princess, like Midna and Wolf Link, that's gotta be something. And maybe even if just it was their final from the Smash Ball or something, they just turn into Midna and Wolf Link or something. Like they need some kind of inclusion. I don't know. It's a little bit still a little probable since they have the HD remake possibly. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know. Who knows? No?
If they're doing anything for whatever the next Smash is, it's coming from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that's
easily,
true.
hands down.
Twilight Princess too long ago. Unless they make another HD remake for the Switch. Hey, that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know. Just kind of filling the air while you've hopefully found your question, Owl.
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see if I can phrase this right. I mean, it's not that difficult of a question, but. So like, what game do you think has like developed like the best art, like as like a sense of characters or just like different art?
Are you saying like visual art?
Visual art and like appealing as you play the game, like.
I see what you're saying.
Like something that's like you think is like the most solid and kind of connects.
Right. There's a lot of good
of all time, or like the year.
Just that you can think of, of all time.
Of all time.
Or you think that has done the best in that kind of aspect.
That's tough. That's real tough. There's a lot of good ones out there. Are you saying specifically like really pretty atmospheres and whatnot, like something to where once you're inside the world, it's like the prettiest world you've seen almost? Or,
well, not just the world, but also just the overall how different characters would blend within the world. Like,
right, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough.
So really creating a realistic world that feels like you've immersed yourself into it, not just with the way that everything looks and blends with each other, but also the way that the characters feel like they're actually a part of it, and they're not just, oh hey, there's an NPC. No, it's like, oh hey, there's George. He's the blacksmith of this world or whatever, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Skyrim. No, I'm just kidding.
there's a lot of good stuff. When it comes to visuals, I immediately want to go to Cuphead.
Cuphead.
The work that they've put into that,
insane.
Purely on a visual level, is insane. The amount of detail that they worked on it. I haven't played it, so I don't know too much in terms of how much everything really feels cohesive and everything.
Right.
But on a pure visual level, I mean, that's got to be one of the most impressive looking games, both art direction and visuals that I can think of.
So just to give you a little background, OwlTin, Cuphead is a you know those old like Mickey Mouse cartoons with the rubber hose animation where everyone's bouncing up and down, they got smiles on their face and stuff. And it's like you got like the piano music going in the background, you know.
Okay.
You know Steamboat Willie, of Mickey Mouse spinning the wheel, whistling. That kind of style animation, except fully colored. Someone made a game where they hand drew that entire animation into a fully fledged game to where everything is that style, and it's one of the most visually appealing games this year. I would say it definitely won it for this year. I actually don't own it, but I've been watching footage of it. It's the most beautiful thing to watch. It literally looks like you're watching a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and the music just complements it so well. That game, I would say, certainly won this year for sure. It's hard to pick one of all time, but some that are definitely worth mentioning is Journey. It's this game about this desert to where everything is just it's a really beautiful game. It's hard to exactly explain what's beautiful about it, but then there's a lot of I have always liked Wind Waker style. I wouldn't say it's hard to say that competes with the best out there because the best is the best, but Wind Waker HD I thought had beautiful art style. Absolutely loved my time in Wind Waker HD. Everything felt right within itself. Like playing Wind Waker for the first time, even that felt really good. Playing it HD, I was like, I didn't know this could exist. Like this looks fantastic, I thought. Though I can understand if people felt like it lost a little bit of the charm, adding some of the lighting effects and whatnot. But anyway, I would say it's a little hard to say my favorite of all time, but those are certainly some ones worth mentioning. And Cuphead obviously is outstanding also. So I'd say those compete heavily. I tend to like really colorful things too. Too much non-color in these modern games. I like colorful things. So
like especially with all the like shooter games, it's like all at least from what I've seen, it's like mostly just beige and white and black and
it kind of makes them all look the same every once in a while. And then you see a nice bright and colorful horizon out in the distance, like Breath of the Wild. Wow, does that game look colorful? I was surprised. I was like, this game actually looks. It doesn't look like any other open world I've seen. It looks bright and colorful. I don't know, but I haven't played it. I will sometime. But yeah, I think it's a good question. I don't think it has a very easy answer, but those are some certainly competing games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also want to put up Dark Souls for less of a visual style, but more for a cohesive world. Because the NPCs in that game really feel like they're all their own adventures with their own stories, doing their own thing, and they just happen to all connect at this one point at certain times. I definitely think that's one of the best examples of just a cohesive world.
Now, that game Bloodborne, that was a lot like Dark Souls. I didn't play it, but from what I've seen, that one also looked like even pretty at some points, like just kind of like what you're saying, how everything looks like it's there. It's also it's like visually appealing to watch these skeletons that are actually like totally creepy and totally Bloodborne-esque and or Dark Souls-esque, I could say. But yeah, I thought the animation style or the basically I think both those games are pretty within themselves. Basically, it's important for games or things to be good within themselves. Recently, I've had my mind on a particular movie that I'm making a video about in December. It's coming out in December, where its biggest problem, not its biggest problem, but I'm sorry, I brought up something that's irrelevant. I was just saying, like, things are important to be realistic within itself, and this movie in a lot of ways wasn't realistic within itself. I think it's just important. Wind Waker is realistic within itself, and the art style is a big part of that. I don't know. Good question. I think we've all asked the question by now. I don't think we have enough time for a games pitch segment, which is the new segment we introduced last time. Basically, we bring up a game and we do like a 30-second speech about why you should get this game and whatnot. And but we're already nearing an hour and 40 minutes, so I think it would be best if we ended it here. But this was certainly a fun podcast. I liked a lot of the stuff we went over. It's great to hear more about Mario Odyssey and also to talk a little bit about Star Wars Battlefront and some of the other things we talked about. It certainly was an enjoyable podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it also. If you would like to enjoy more podcasts in the future, then make sure you subscribe to the channel that you are watching this on, or follow my Twitch, which is also in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter, and I will announce the dates there. But you can specifically remember that it's on the last Friday of every month at 10 p.m. Pacific time, and this upcoming episode, this one I've been dreading for a while because it's on December 29th. I don't know how many people will be available on December 29th. That's a little bit too close to Christmas time. But I can assure you I will be there in Square doing a podcast for you guys, even if it's by myself, darn it. We'll see. But that will be at 10 p.m. Pacific, so make sure you guys check that out. December 29th, 10 p.m. Pacific. Today is November 24th, 2017. I forgot to say that earlier in this podcast. Doggone it. But yeah, that's how you guys can keep up to date with the podcast. I'm now going to hand over the microphone to my pal OwlTin so that he can kind of plug what's going on with him and his channel this upcoming month.
So just more Portal 2 on my channel with PatNet.
Every Wednesday.
I haven't had a ton. Every Wednesday. I haven't had a lot of time to do other outside videos just because, a lot of school and finals are coming up and everything like that. And the holidays are now kind of going and different events. So
free time's a myth. Free time's a myth. It's the only thing that creates free time is procrastination, but you can't procrastinate, so you're screwed. that's the moral of the story. Anyway. Yeah. So is that good then?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I got
cool.
that.
What about you, Dallas? You got some stuff to give us?
I kind of mentioned at the beginning. I mean,
right.
Got a YouTube stuff that's gonna have something interesting coming up this Monday, and then stream stuff will be getting back into that as well. Now that I've got my microphone, a desk, and you can find me Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all MeBrother9.
Yep, where he'll be streaming Star Wars Battlefront 2 all day, every day. That's kind of what his channel's known for.
Oh no!
Did you give the date of the video that you said was going to come out, like the next time?
The 30th. So it might not be Monday.
The 30th.
I thought Monday was the 30th.
The Thursday's the 30th.
So then it's Thursday.
Thursday. Cool. So there's a new video on his channel Thursday. By the time this comes out on YouTube, it'll already be out. So if you're watching on the YouTube version, click his link in the description and check out his new video and his return to YouTube and streaming and stuff. Thank you guys all so much for watching. All of our links are in the description. We'll see you next time on the Soda Popcast. Thank you for watching.
Yay.
So long.
Goodbye.